You heard of Bruce Jenner, right? Mm-hmm. We all know Bruce is a man, but he took off the body part. Where you going?
I'm leaving.
Jesse Lee Peterson triggers this woke lesbian to run away on his show after having an emotional breakdown over Jesse Lee Peterson's very simple questions that she is totally incapable of answering with practically any form of cohesion, as Jesse Lee Peterson trolls this woman into a complete surrender. So let's get in.
So you became a lesbian at 19. Do you think you were born that way, or having sex with another woman caused you to become that way?
Yeah, definitely not caused me to become that way.
Or do you think you were born that way?
Yes.
Then why didn't you know it before 19?
Because I was very sexually repressed and also a very late bloomer. So I didn't even kiss anyone until I was like 17.
A few years ago, you did an interesting video on your identity. Mm-hmm. And you said you fall between 5 and a 6 in the Kinsey scale, on the Kinsey scale. Mm-hmm. What is the Kinsey scale?
Kinsey was a doctor who did one of the biggest, I think like sex research, or like for the first time. And so he basically rates gayness on a scale from 1 to 6, which is a very flawed system because sexuality and orientations and romantic orientations and all of that isn't really linear. It's kind of more like a constellation, and your gender and your identity and who you're attracted to and what you're attracted to and what kind of sex you like and what kind of person you want, all just really is this constellation. So it's kind of flawed. That's why I'm saying I'm between a 5 and a 6 doesn't make any sense, you know?
And so I understand the feeling that you have for the same sex, for sexual stuff. I understand that. But when you're doing it, or when you stand back and look at it, seeing 2 women or 2 men attracted to each other sexually, is there any part of you that says, you know what, I know I'm doing this, but it's not quite right. It's something wrong with this.
No.
You know, it doesn't make sense that women of the same sex or men of the same sex will have sex. Is there something ever kicks in to say, you know what, maybe it's not what I think?
No. I felt like that way when I was dating boys, way more.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And just, I don't know, being with women just feels so right and true and just feels good.
Do you resent men?
Not at all.
What's your impression of men?
Depends on the man. I mean, I don't know. Men is just such a large group of people that, I don't know.
So what is your impression of man?
Of which one?
In the ones you know. How do you see men?
I don't know. In a sexual way?
What is a man?
What is a man? Man is an identity that someone can identify as.
Man is an identity that someone can identify as? What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know how to define man other than that, really.
Did you know before?
Just remember, folks, that young girls like this, what she just said is probably the result of $100,000 worth of college education wasted. And now she can't even define what a man or a woman is. And anyone knows if you have to use the same word in the definition, you can't actually define it. That's a very basic principle that I guess she missed at her $100,000 6-figure college tuition that has just absolutely brain rotted any form of cohesion that she might otherwise have in her thought process.
Well, now that you really didn't know what a man was?
Well, I'm not a man. How am I supposed to know what it is or what it feels like?
What is a woman?
Same thing.
What?
Woman is an identity you can identify as.
So did you know before today you didn't know what a woman was either?
I guess I didn't.
So did you know that prior to now that you did not know what a woman was?
Oh, God. I don't know. I guess I could sit and think about a definition. I don't know, because it's difficult because you want to be inclusive of trans people and non-binary people. So I can't just be like, being a woman is these primary sex characteristics or secondary sex characteristics or your chromosomes or whatever. I think it's a mix of all of those things, and it's also a mix of who you feel or what you feel like you are. So being a woman and being a man and being neither or both is different. It's such a different experience for everyone. And I am so cisgender. I've always felt like I am a woman and I want to be more womanly and like all of these things. So it's hard for me to imagine what it would feel like to not be a woman. So I'm just like, I mean, it just feels this way. I have no idea.
It's hard for you to say what a woman is because you don't want to offend the people who are confused about their sexual identity.
It's not that I don't want to offend them. It's that I want to include them because they
Why?
are a part. They're a part of the conversation about. Did you just say trans people are messed up?
Yeah, they're like abnormal. You know, like they've been traumatized. Why would you not identify what a real woman is? Because people who are confused about who they are might be offended when you might be able to help them by really identifying what a woman is and what a man is, and they may think about it and overcome their traumas.
Did you just say real woman?
Right.
So you think that there are women that aren't real women?
Yes.
Okay, like what?
A lesbian.
A lesbian's not a
Or
real
transgender.
woman?
Do you think men who take off the body parts and put on women body parts, you know, like breasts and all that, and put on dresses, are they women or are they still, are they women or are they still men?
Sorry, ask the question again.
You know how there are transgenders? Let me do this. Transgenders now, and they're confused about their identity. So you heard of Bruce Jenner, right? Mm-hmm. We all know Bruce is a man, but he took off the body part. Where you going?
I'm leaving.
Why are you leaving?
Because
What?
what you're saying is extremely offensive and I'm not going to sit here for it.
Come and tell me why.
Nope.
You're running?
Yep.
But I thought you were open-minded.
Absolutely savage. I love Jesse Lee Peterson, but you have to call it what it is. Like, it is abnormal. It just is. Like, it's crazy that people want to be offended by that, but that's the whole point that Jesse Lee Peterson was trying to say. It's like, you can't curtail everything to not offend anybody who doesn't want to hear the truth. That's like, you know, allowing the nut jobs in the insane asylum to run the insane asylum just, you know, so you don't offend them. Like, that's essentially what you're doing. You're letting the crazies police all the rational, normal thinking people. Like, no, this is absolutely insane. And it's always the victim mentality with these people. Like, they always claim they want to be inclusive. They want to be for everybody. But anytime you question anything that goes against this ideology, they always run away. They always play the victim. They always get offended. They always call you a name or a homophobe or a transphobe or whatever it is. As long as it's not truthful and honest and objective, they're fine with it. But anytime you bring those facts up in a conversation, they absolutely crumble. They just can't handle the real world. Their brains are literally rotted to the point they cannot handle how the real world actually works. But folks, put down in the comments what you thought about what Jesse Lee Peterson had to say in his savage takedown of this woke lesbian on his show. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, take care, and I'll see you on the next one.